the African perspective.
With your latest news this hour, I am Onele Tsinzi. The Kenya National Commission on Human Rights says the number of people killed in Monday's anti-government protests in Kenya has now risen to 31, sparking public outrage and calls for justice. The state-run commission previously said that 11 people had died, more than 100 people were injured and about 532 arrested in the protests, which hit the capital Nairobi and other major cities. The UN said it was deeply troubled by the killings and has criticized the Kenyan police for using lethal ammunition against protesters. The Kenya police still say that only 11 people died. South Africa's National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola says they are ready to brief President Cyril Ramaphosa on the KwaZulu-Natal Police Commission's Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi's recent allegations. Mkhwanazi alleged during a media briefing on Sunday that senior police officials were working with syndicates to cover up high-profile crimes. Mkhwanazi also accused Police Minister Senzo Mchunu of receiving financial support from controversial businessman Vusumuzi Kat Matlala for his own political benefit. Masemola has conceded that Mkhwanazi's allegations are extremely worrying.
The current state of affairs is unprecedented and it is concerning, unfortunate, and requires uncompromised intervention to restore public trust, stability in the organization. We as SAPS, we acknowledge fully the commitment made by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of South Africa, President Cyril Ramaphosa, who said he will attend to this matter as soon as he arrives into the country. Members of the media, we are ready to brief the President, and as such, the National Commissioner could not have done anything now.
Meanwhile, South Africa's National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola has confirmed that security has been tightened at the home of KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. This after Mkhwanazi made corruption allegations against senior police officials, including the Police Minister Senzo Mchunu. Teenage pregnancy in South Africa has reached a critical level, posing significant risks to the health, rights, education and socio-economic futures of young girls across the country. During a stakeholders engagement convened by the Deputy Minister in the Presidency for Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities in Pretoria on Monday, UNAIDS South Africa Country Director Eva Kiwongo highlighted the urgent need for comprehensive intervention to curb this ongoing challenge, while recalling late former South Africa Deputy President David Mabuza's words on teenage pregnancy. According to official statistics, over 34,000 teenage pregnancies were recorded in 2020, including nearly 700 cases involving girls younger than 10, underscoring the severity of the crisis confronting South African societies. Kiwongo explains.
In 2021, Stats SA report showed that there were 34,000 cases of teenage pregnancy in 2020, and 668 of those were girls younger than 10 years old. I recall the former deputy president in his capacity as the SANAC chairperson, when he was speaking at a SANAC event in KZN, how he slammed the rising numbers of teenage pregnancy in the country, and he described teenage pregnancy as a blight on the moral standing of our society.
Lastly, the United States has announced sweeping changes to its non-immigrant visa policy for Nigeria, cutting the duration and conditions under which most Nigerian travelers can enter the country. Started on the 8th of July, the U.S. Department of State says nearly all non-immigrant and non-diplomatic visas issued to Nigerian citizens will only be single entry and valid for only 3 months. It says this is part of a global reciprocity realignment, a sharp shift from previous visa terms, which often allowed for multiple entries over 2 years or more. Nigerians account for one of the highest number of student visa applications to the U.S. in the world. For any news stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us at +27 11 714 4459. Channel Africa News, I'm Onele Tsinzi.
SABC News. The African Perspective. Mosito. Tamengubene talks money. Africa in business. 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6. We put on a little bit more color.
Hey, happy Wednesday and welcome to The Upside on Channel Africa, the African perspective. It's 6 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African time. My name is Tebogo Lekhuleni, alongside the one and only, the extraordinary Mmatsheko Mosito, and we'll be with you all the way to 4 p.m. Central African time. Stream us live on our social media platforms at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube. And if you have DSTV, it's channel 802, OpenView channel 628. You can stream us on www.channelafrica.co.za or simply download that SABC Plus app and take us with you wherever you go. Good afternoon to you, ma'am. How are you doing on this glorious Wednesday?
Listen, I always feel like I'm overdressed for the occasion, because it's always like summertime in the studio, but otherwise it's been a very busy day, but I'm happy to be here. And how are you?
I am, you know what, I was telling Lulu earlier that we're going to be having conversations about smoothies and eating things that are good for your skin. I was specifically harping on the smoothie one because, my goodness me, smoothies take a long time to make. Like, it's effort. Cleaning that blender, getting the ingredients, it's a lot. But we will be talking about foods and smoothies that will make your skin glow with the Neutrogena Glow campaign. So I'm excited about that, but also a bit, guys, can I just buy these smoothies? Personally, I don't want to make them myself.
Oh my gosh, talk about lazy. I mean, you've got to just rinse the blender. It really does. It's
a lot.
It's way better than having a chopping board and a knife and this and that, making an actual one pot, if you will. Even that's like very laborious.
Well,
so I guess, a blender is just one gadget, literally. You don't have to chop anything. But here we are. We're going to talk healthy things. We're also going to be looking at the upside and Rabasadi. So we're looking at just a wonderful setting with dinner and tables for stories as such. So if you want to find out more about that, stick around. That's all coming through in this first hour of the show. We're going to be looking at SARS, the South African Revenue Services Office of the Tax Ombud campaign. That's in the golden hour of our program, just after 2 p.m. in Central African time. What's happening in the grand finale?
And then we look at organic products for skin products for your babies, for your child. I know as a parent, you do a lot of research in ensuring that you get the right products that are not going to affect your child's skin in a negative way. Well, there's a couple by Ego products that are creating, or Ego baby products that are creating organic 100% natural products for the babies. How cool is that?
I think that is very important. Cool, but it's a must, because we live in the most toxic time in humanity, chemicals everywhere. So if we can eat as organically as possible, put organic things on our skin, especially our little babies, I think that it's a must. So I'm very proud of them, and I'm excited to find out more.
All right, stay tuned. That's all coming up on The Upside this afternoon. It's 10 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African time. And just a reminder of the big game that will be taking place this weekend. The Springboks up against Italy. And Mzansi, this is more than just a game. It's a celebration of history. 30 years ago, the Springboks united our nation with that iconic Rugby World Cup victory. And now the mighty Boks are back. Don't miss South Africa versus Italy in the 30th anniversary commemoration match this Saturday, the 12th of July at 4 p.m. Central African time. Watch it live on SABC2 or stream it anywhere on the SABC Plus app. Download the SABC Plus app today on iOS, Android, or your smart TV. Switch to stream. No subscription. SABC, for the love of the game.
Zochitika ndi Madaphiri kamlondola wa zochitika pena paliponse.
Nduna wa zamalonda ku Malawi aletsa kampani yopanga shuga ya Irovo yomwe ndi nthambi ya Irovo Sugar Group Limited kuti isiye kutumiza shuga kumayiko akunja. Malingana ndi nduna ya zamalonda Vitumbuko Mumba, izi zithandiza kuti shuga yemwe yakusowa pamsika azipezeka. Ndiye pano ndili ndi George Muhangu amene ali mu mzinda wa Blantyre mu dziko la Malawi. Chimene chikupangitsa kuti shuga azisowa ndi chani?
Chomwe chikupangitsa kuti shuga azisowa ndichonena kuti panopo ili ngati off season ya makampani a Irovo Sugar Malawi, kunena kuti sakutha kupanga shugayi okwanira chifukwa akukolola. Ndiye akamaliza kukolola pameneno atayambeno sopano kugaya shugayi kuti azipezeka. Chinanso ndichonena kuti ma distributors amene akumakagula shuga kaya ndi ku Irovo kaya ndi kusalima shuga akumagulisa kumayiko akunja ngati Zambia, Zimbabwe, Tanzania, Mozambique.
Zochitika ndi Madaphiri lolemba mpaka lachisanu pa nthawi ya 7 koloko kufikira 8 koloko madzulo pa Channel Africa. Channel Africa, your voice, your sound, and your home. Stay logged right here. The Upside, 1 to 4 p.m. Central African Time. With Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mosito. Only on Channel Africa, the African perspective. With Joel Muteba. We go to Eastern Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madaphiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Mariamo Kumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia, 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mosito. Tamengubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joel Muteba. We go to Eastern Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madaphiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Mariamo Kumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia, 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko Mosito.
It's after 1 p.m. Central African time. That song there, I saw Shin Soman. Is that the name of the artist? Shin Soman.
I would like to believe so. Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I asked because when I saw it initially, I was like, "There's no way someone called themselves Shin Soman," but that's their name. Shin Soman. The name is the song's name is called Rombe. This is the Upside on Channel Africa with me, Tebogo Lekhuleni, and Mmatsheko Mosito on Channel Africa, the African perspective. Let's get into our first conversation. A conversation that will definitely fascinate you, intrigue you, Mmatsheko, as the wellness hun of the group. We are talking about eating the right kinds of foods and smoothies that are good for your skin.
Yes. Apparently we need to now eat our beauty and skincare. That's where it starts. That's a good place to start. So here we are. Winter may be cold, but that doesn't mean that your glow has to fade. So on the upside, we are looking at teaming up with Neutrogena so we can help keep your skin radiant from the inside out. See, I said it. So joining us, we've got Chef Mule, who is, I mean, can we just call her Mrs. Feed My Tribe, okay? Mule Satati, we all know, Dumelang Tribe. She's always there with fabulous recipes and just so much knowledge to share. And she definitely eats her skincare. Have you seen how gorgeous she looks?
Stunning.
Oh my
stunning.
goodness. Gorgeous woman. Mule, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing?
Thank you so much, Dumelang, my new tribe.
Dumelang Tribe. I love that so much. I live for that line. You should start a t-shirt range. Dumelang Tribe.
I definitely will.
Talk to us. I think before we get into the Glow campaign with Neutrogena, just talk to us about just your relationship with eating your skincare.
Okay. Thank you for having me, guys. Eating skincare for me is very important. Every single thing starts in the gut. And I went on this journey, I think, as I got older. You know, when you're younger, you have so many advantages because your body just works with you. You know, you can wake up one day after you've had a hangover and still glow and have glowy skin. But the older you get, age starts catching up with you. Life starts catching up with you. And your system is now operating on what it is that you consume and what it is that you put on your skin. And I wanted to start focusing on the gut and what it is that we put into our skin, and that's very important. So I always talk on Feed My Tribe about how when you're feeling tired, when you're feeling foggy, when you're feeling a bit sluggish, when your face is breaking out, it has a lot to do with what it is that you're putting into your body. Because that's where everything starts. Even from an emotional point of view, your gut health tells you a lot what you're going through. If you've had a traumatic incident or traumatic period, your skin will start showing that. If you're not eating well, your skin is the first thing that shows signs of a gut that's not well. So for me, skin health and what you put in and what you put out works together.
Chef, it's winter now, so most likely we are indulging in decadent, warm, hearty meals that may not necessarily be ideal for the skin. So what should we actually be feeding ourselves or putting into our bodies this winter season?
Yes, everything is about balance. So as much as you want to indulge and have all the good stuff, you can still have the good, homey, hearty stuff, but just watching what it is that you're putting into your body. So a nice example I can give is if you want to have a soup, right? We grew up on our grandmothers and our aunts and our mothers' bone broth split pea soup. You know, the soup from back in the days where it used to be bones and vegetables. That is what we grew up on. It was amazing because the bone broth or the broth from the bone had some marrow in it, and marrow is good for you, right? But what you can do as an alternative to that is make a pho, which is a Vietnamese soup, PHO, and what you do is boil the bones, boil some oxtail, boil some chicken, and what you do is add vegetables in there, but leave the broth to be clear instead of putting vegetables in it and blending it down with butter or with oil. What you do is consume that broth along with the vegetables, which are still nice and crunchy, and you still have a hearty sort of meal, but the broth is so good for your skin. It's good for your gut, which is going to, in essence, glow from inside out.
All right, we're in conversation with Chef Mmatsheko, who is, of course, the founder of a wonderful platform known as Feed My Tribe. There's a book series there, there's a product series, there's recipes like you cannot believe. So if you haven't started following her on her socials, particularly on Instagram, she's got wonderful content there for you and all kinds of recipes. We are talking about glowing literally from the inside out with nutrition, and we're looking at the Neutrogena Glow campaign. We'll be right back.
Got something to say? Are you passionate about issues that matter? Do you have a voice that deserves to be heard? Well, we've got the perfect platform for you. Call in or drop us a WhatsApp on +27 63 406 9126, and we will call you back so you could have your say and be part of the conversation.
30 years of age. I just turned 30 on the 15th of November. So that's who I am, you know.
It's not just talk, it's your chance to air your views, share your opinion, engage with a community that values your perspective. Follow us on our social media. Visit our website at www.channelafrica.co.za and get ready to share your views on Channel Africa, the African perspective. Get Channel Africa on DSTV Audio Bouquet. Channel 802. We take no sides, none whatsoever. We are the Upside.
Welcome to the first hour of the Upside, 22 minutes into the 1 p.m. hour, Central African time. We are talking about glowing from the inside out, okay? Neutrogena Glow campaign, and no better person to talk to us about nutrition and looking absolutely gorgeous this winter season than Chef Mmatsheko of Feed My Tribe. Mule, let's talk about your favorite go-to glow from the inside out smoothie recipe. What would you put in there? Also, I think it's tricky with smoothies because it's the winter time and we don't really like cold food. So what's the go-to?
So if people want an option of two things, you can either have a hot drink that will make you glow from within, and then you can have a smoothie option. So a delicious glow smoothie option for me. If you are familiar with moringa, the moringa leaf, moringa is actually quite amazing for glowing skin. If you ingest it or take it over time, it's good for your overall health, but it's packed with antioxidants, and those antioxidants, once they release into your skin, your overall skin from your body, from the tip of your toe to the top of your head will be glowing and beautiful. So you can do a nice moringa smoothie with moringa, and then mix that with some green apples, mix that with some ginger, and then obviously to just sweeten the deal, make it nice and tasty, you add in some dates, which are very good for your gut, and then mix it up with a banana, just to make it more filling. And you've got a nice, delicious smoothie that is good for your skin. It tastes good. I know most people are scared of moringa, but trust me, once you see the green and once you taste it, they're two different things. It's going to be sweet from the dates and from the banana, and then it's going to be packed with all those antioxidants and the good health from the ginger and the moringa mixed together. And then as an alternative to using regular water, we know that Neutrogena is big on hydration. You swap your regular water and have coconut water to your smoothie instead of using regular water. That will add extra hydration into your smoothie. And then as a hot option, because it's winter, I like making hot teas or like a hot infusion of a drink, just so that in the winter days I'm more warmer. So you'll do a turmeric drink, which will be turmeric, ginger, and in order for the turmeric to absorb into your body, you need to add black pepper. I always see people online making smoothies or turmeric drinks in the morning, and they forget to add black pepper. Black pepper helps turmeric absorb into your body more. If you have turmeric on its own, it won't absorb into your body. So turmeric makes the skin glow, It helps with hyperpigmentation, and then you mix that up with some hot water. You mix it in with some cloves and some chicory tea, and you've got a nice hot drink that you can enjoy. But it'll also be really good for your skin. It'll give you extra hydration, and it'll boost and get rid of hyperpigmentation and just give you a beautiful glowing skin from within. So those are my two go-to drinks. I've got a nice hot one and a beautiful smoothie that you can drink.
Chef, debunk this myth that eating healthy and taking care of your skin can be a very costly and expensive exercise. When we're talking specifically about the nutrition, debunk that. Can we find affordable solutions that we can maintain on a regular basis? Because for some of us, we think, hey, healthy living seems very expensive.
Yes. I think what I think about when I'm alone, I'm like, if you think about back in the days and what our parents used to give us and what we used to consume, we have a lot of vegetables in our meals. So I know a lot of people make fun of cabbage being a staple in some of our South African homes growing up, but cabbage was a staple, and that's a good vegetable for you. And if you open a South African home's fridge, you'll find spinach, you'll find cabbage. And with most of us who do live in either in the townships, or if you live in a rural area, you'll find umama who's at a corner who sells vegetables that are accessible, right? I've mentioned an apple, I've mentioned bananas, which you can easily access from the people who sell it at the corner of your house, and it doesn't need you to break the bank at any point. A lot of eating well and eating clean is about being mindful and being aware of what you consume. So it is possible to eat healthy, to eat well, especially on a budget. It's about finding the nooks and the ways in order to do that. You don't need to buy kale if you know that kale is more expensive than spinach. Stick to spinach if that's what you have access to. If you cannot afford lettuce, you know that, okay, I can find spinach and I can actually grow it in my yard. It can actually be accessible to me, and I can use that as an alternative for lettuce or anything else that is asked for in a salad. I usually use spinach as my base for any salad because it adds more nutritional value for me. A lot of our grandmothers used to grow apple spinach, cabbage into our homes, and especially the plants and the sort of mint, parsley that we see are easily grown inside your home. You know, it takes a once-off thing of buying that in, and after that, the sustainability of it is not that expensive. So it's about being conscious and making your choices from a conscious space instead of saying, you know what, because there's more available, then is more easily available or more affordable than actually going and saying, let me make a smoothie. I'm hungry. Let me make a quick smoothie. I know that the ingredients in the house are available, so let me try and see what it is that I can make with the ingredients that are available. So it's about being conscious and being aware of what it is that you consume. The moment you think something is expensive, you're already closing your mind open to what it is that you can make. So yeah, there are alternatives to what it is that you can do. Something as simple as pap. My household that eats pap a lot, I always tell my kids, if you let pap cool off and have it the next day, it actually has more benefits than it is when it's hot. I don't know if you guys know that. When you eat pap hot, it doesn't have any sort of health benefits to it. But the moment you get it cool down, the glycemic levels lower, and it's actually more beneficial for you. So something as simple as that, as you know, as free as that information is about being aware and being conscious to say, let me do more research to say the food that I'm consuming and eating, how they're more beneficial to me. So adding more vegetables to your plate when you're eating is beneficial. Letting your food cool down before you eat it is more beneficial, and it will work for you in the long run.
All right. We've spoken very extensively about just, you know, eating your skincare, you know, and you've given us so many tips and tricks. But let's talk about skincare products, okay? Looking at the Hydro and Glow Boost ranges. Any of your personal recommendations that we can pair with these delicious, you know, glow foods that you've been mentioning?
All right. So any of the things that I would say from Neutrogena or from a food perspective?
So from Neutrogena, the Hydro or Glow Boost ranges. Your personal recommendations.
I love the Hydro Boost range. So from the Hydro Boost range, I think I do the gel cream or the water gel. That's also quite nice. I like the texture of it, especially in winter, just to feel in as a final step in your routine, in your skincare routine, after using the hydro toner, using that hydro gel just to seal in everything into your body, into your face. I love sort of washing my face and having a routine day and night. Because I think in winter, the first thing you want to do is jump in your blanket as soon as you get home because it's so cold. But making sure that, you know what, when I have a routine and I make sure that I follow a 3-step routine, something as simple as that. I like the toner, which is beautiful and amazing for my skin, especially in winter, just to bring in that hydration and to add it into the skin again. And then the Hydro Boost gel is one of my favorites from Neutrogena. So those are my two favorites.
Oh, Chef, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. We certainly hope that our lovely listeners will take some of your tips and glow this winter. All the best with Feed My Tribe platform, and all the best to you personally in your career. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a beautiful day, guys.
Chef Mule Sitati. She is the ruler, the queen of Feed My Tribe, giving you top tips there on how to glow your skin this winter. It's 30 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African time. Musibudi Makura standing by with sports.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thank you, Tebogo. Good afternoon from the sports desk. The Morocco Democratic Republic of Congo match tonight at the Stade Olympique in Rabat feels like a last chance for both teams in the ongoing Women's Africa Cup of Nations tournament. So 1 point for the host country and 0 points for the DRC. The stage is set and the equation is quite simple. So to avoid a premature exit from this year's Women's Africa Cup of Nations tournament, both teams must win. After a frustrating 2-2 draw against Zambia over the weekend, the Atlas Lionesses know they have no room for error. In front of their home crowd, they will have to show character as well as efficiency against a wounded Congolese side defeated by a resounding 4-0 victory by Senegal, and now are determined to recover from that setback. For the Congolese side, the story is a different one. There is no question of just playing for the part despite the heavy initial defeat. The DR Congo currently sitting bottom of Group A with no points and need a win today to avoid an early exit from this year's tournament. So kickoff for this game is at 9 p.m. Central African time. But before that game, we'll get to see Zambia facing off with Senegal also in a Group A encounter tonight. Well, Uganda's technical team has reduced its CHAN 2024 squad to about 29 players, with co-head coaches also narrowing down their options ahead of the Continental Showpiece in August. The announcement follows an intensive training session held at the Prisons ground in Luzira as the Cranes now ramp up their preparations for their 7th appearance in a Total Energies CAF African Nations CHAN tournament. The tournament will be co-hosted by Uganda, Kenya as well as Tanzania from the 2nd until the 30th of August. Now, former Cranes captain Dennis Onyango has temporarily joined the technical bench to assist with the goalkeeping duties during the squad's training sessions. Now, the Mamelodi Sundowns goalkeeper back home for the off-season is expected now to provide vital mentorship to Uganda's 4 goalkeepers who are part of this camp. Now, this trimmed squad is not the final one, but also represents a key phase in selection, with the coaching duo now set to announce the final 23-man squad before the tournament is set to kick off. Uganda, by the way, are drawn in Group C. They face a stern test with Algeria, Guinea, Niger, as well as South Africa, all in the same pool. The Cranes opening their campaign against Algeria on the 4th of August at the Nambole Stadium. Well, further field now, all the evidence so far suggests Portuguese footballer Diego Jota was driving when his car crashed on the Spanish motorway, and he was probably speeding. That's according to police. The 28-year-old Liverpool player was killed with his brother Andre Silva when their Lamborghini car had suspected tyre blowout in the northwestern Zamora province earlier on last week. Now, Spain's Guardia Civil Police force did say at the time the car car had apparently been overtaking on the A52 motorway near Palacios de Sanabrai when it left the road and burst into flames. Now, tire marks also were analysed some distance from where the Lamborghini tyre blew out. Police said they had also studied the marks left by one of the Lamborghini tyres, and that all tests carried out so far indicate that the driver of this vehicle was Diego Jota. Now, the expert also report is being prepared for the courts on the accident, and the investigation is understood to have also made more complex by the intensity of the fire that almost completely destroyed the car. The brothers had been heading to the Spanish port of Santander, so Jota could return to Liverpool for pre-season training. They were buried this past weekend. Onto this now, the Proteas set a national record of 10 consecutive test wins after completing an innings as well as a 236-run victory over Zimbabwe on the third day in Bulawayo yesterday, wrapping up the series 2-0. The Proteas ran through the rest of the Zimbabwe batting order in the post-lunch session on day 3 to power their way to the thumping innings. Now, the Proteas head coach Shukri Conrad says the boxes were duly ticked and is pleased with the team's high performance levels during this year's test series against Zimbabwe.
I think the important and the impressive thing for me was how we managed to keep the standards as high as we set them, both the first test and the second test, batting first. We found ourselves in a little bit of trouble against the new ball, and then how the youngsters, Luandre and Brevi, managed that in the first test. And the same in the second, we found ourselves in trouble, and then Vian played a monumental knock.
And finally, defending women's Afro basketball champions Nigeria have begun their title defense, or rather will begin their title defense against Rwanda on the 26th of this month, the opening day of the competition in Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire, which will then run from the 26th of July until the 3rd of August. The Nigerian ladies have been drawn in the same group as Mozambique. They will play Mozambique on the 28th of July. They're currently topping the group of this competition, and then we'll be hoping, of course, Nigeria to qualify for the quarterfinals that are set to get underway on the 30th of July. Channel Africa's Tony Obani reports.
The winners of the 4 groups will qualify automatically for the quarterfinals, while the second and third teams in each group will play a qualifying series to determine who joins the group leaders in the last 8. Group A consists of hosts Cote d'Ivoire, Angola and Egypt. Group B has Mali, Cameroon and South Sudan, while Group C and D have Senegal, Uganda and Guinea, as well as Nigeria, Rwanda and Mozambique, respectively. Reigning champions, the Tigers, who are chasing a record-extending 7th Afro basketball title, will be looking to recover from a quarter-final exit at the 2024 Paris Olympics.
Well, those are your sports news, Asawa. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or give us a call, +27 11714 4459. For Channel Africa Sport, I am Musibudi Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Are you fluent in French, Chinyanja, Portuguese, and Kiswahili? Are you passionate about radio? And are you looking to work in South Africa? Do you have papers that qualify you to work in South Africa? In that case, we might have an opportunity for you to work for Channel Africa. Send us your CV and demo at newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Remember, if you don't hear from us within 14 days, it means you have not made it or you have not been selected. Channel Africa, the African perspective. The Upside with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mosito, bringing Africa's voices to the world. On Channel Africa, the African perspective.
38 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African time. It's now time for us to introduce and say good afternoon to Chandu Koligege for business news.
Business news on Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Thank you, Tebogo, and good afternoon. The Financial Sector Conduct Authority says it remains committed to investigating high-impact financial crimes in South Africa, such as money laundering, fraud, corruption, and financing terrorism. In its latest regulatory actions report, the SCA says there has been an almost 60% increase in new cases it has received. The financial sector watchdog says 70% of the cases are related to unregistered financial services and insurance activities. This is for the period between April the 1st, 2024 and the end of March this year. FSCA Commissioner Unathi Kamlana.
The strategic intent here is to begin to deploy advanced digital tools and analytics, the use of analytics to detect misconduct earlier, where we are able to respond faster, much more efficiently, and coordinate more effectively across the supervisory landscape. And this is particularly important given the growing wave of digital scams.
West African cocoa production, which has faced two successive below-average harvests, is likely to see another 10% decline in the upcoming 2025-26 season, despite marginally improved weather conditions. Ivory Coast and Ghana, the world's two leading producers, along with Nigeria and Cameroon, account for over two-thirds of global cocoa output. But they are struggling with shifting weather patterns, aging tree stocks, disease, and destructive small-scale gold mining. Pod counters employed by cocoa exporters and trading houses are currently visiting plantations to carry out crop assessments for the 2025-26 season, which opens in October. In East Africa, the Uganda National Oil Company is seeking a joint venture partner to help operate on an exploration block in Uganda's west. The Ugandan state-owned firm acquired the 1,285 square kilometer Karusaban exploration block in 2023 after signing a production sharing agreement with the government. The company spokesperson Angela Ambaho did not share details of how much equity the company was prepared to share with the new partner in the venture. The sharing agreement was initially signed for 2 years and is subject to 2 renewals for the same period. Former senior economist at the United Nations, Bernard Owanji, says the U.S. would benefit if it were to increase trade relations with Africa for geopolitical reasons. Owanji's comments come as the U.S. increased pressure on its trading partners this week, sending the heads of several countries, including South Africa and Tunisia, informing them of their new tariff rate. The tariffs, which were scheduled to come into effect today, have now been pushed back, with the exception of China, to the 1st of August. Owanji explains.
Every country tries to engage in trade with United States being the largest economy in the world. So they have to trade with United States to earn foreign exchange. And the U.S. also is keen to have trading partners in Africa for geopolitical reasons. So it's each side is set to win when you develop trade.
The European Central Bank chief economist Philip Lane says the bank will consider risks beyond trade tariffs, from security concerns to potential penalties on foreign investors when it assesses the global landscape. Lane was discussing the bank's monetary policy strategy, including the updated monetary policy strategy, in an event in Brussels in Belgium earlier today. He says the uncertainty extends beyond the calibration of new tariff regimes. Lane also says it includes the possibility of a broader set of non-tariff barriers, a deeper intertwining of economic policies and security policies, and possible revisions to the treatment of foreign portfolio investors and foreign direct investors. Finally, let's have a look at financial indicators at this hour. $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,000 naira, 529, Botswana 13 pula, 19. Kenya, the dollar is at 128 shilling, 495. Zambia 24 kwacha, 17. BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is at 5 real 46. In Russia, 78 rubles 43. India, 85 rupees 72. China, 71.17. South Africa, 17 rand 79. $1 is at 73 pence to the British pound and 85 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is at $3,294, platinum at $1,347 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil at $70.34 a barrel. That is all for now. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za, or you can call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Chanduko Ligege.
Business News on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Annie Kalonji sur Channel Africa.
Nous allons à présent dérouler notre tapis rouge pour accueillir notre personnalité du jour, l'artiste chanteur Sheki Frey, qui est en ligne de Guinée avec nous.
Je suis un artiste guinéen, un créateur, un styliste, et je fais un peu ce qui plaît à mes fans. Voilà, c'est un peu ça. On a beaucoup de genres de trucs à faire, mais bon, pour le moment, on est basé un peu sur le rap.
D'accord. À quelle période de votre vie avez-vous commencé à vous intéresser à la musique, Sheki?
Bon, je ne crois pas qu'il y ait une période, parce que moi, je suis un mélomane depuis mon petit âge.
Annie Kalonji, tous les dimanches sur Mix Vibration.
Midday vibes, great programming, and good company. This is Channel Africa. The Upside. On the Upside, your voice matters.
It is 45 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African time. This is still The Upside. You did not tune into the wrong station. It is The Upside on Channel Africa for the African perspective with me, Tebogo Lekhuleni, and Mmatsheko Mosito, with you all the way to 4 p.m. Central African time. Do you remember the story of Lerato?
Lerato? Surname?
Lerato, the lady who went on a date.
Oh, Olerato.
Olerato.
Mungale. Yes.
My apologies. Olerato Mungale. She was part of a group called Ribasadi. She was part of that group, a woman empowerment group where they got together and just empowered one another. And since she passed, they have decided to create a dinner, sort of like a round table dinner, libasadi, a seat at the table for stories that matter. Now, there's something sacred about women gathering around a table, and this dinner is in honor of Olerato, sharing their journeys, their challenges, their triumphs. That's exactly what Dinner Libasadi is all about. Created by Ribasadi, this curated dinner experience invites women from all walks of life to sit down, connect, and grow through story and sisterhood. Joining us today is the visionary behind the movement, Dibatso Molapo, as we count down to the relaunch of Ribasadi and the upcoming dinner dates around the country. Dibatso, thank you so much for your time and welcome to The Upside.
Hi, thank you so much for having me once again.
Let's start off with Ribasadi as a movement. For those who are hearing it for the very first time, tell us about the amazing work that you do as Ribasadi.
So I'm Tebogo Molapo. I founded Ribasadi. I was just 19 when I founded Ribasadi. And so the purpose of why I started Ribasadi was to kind of like create a space where the women, especially the women in my hometown, we talk about the socioeconomic issues that are affecting us, and why we don't start businesses, and why there's this like subtle competition that we have. And I wanted to address those questions and those conversations. And so I brought together, the first one we had was in 2015. And we just had young women talking about how we can innovate. And I think I shared on a write-up recently that a few months into hosting that event, I realized that this was a need for a lot of women. A lot of young women wanted community. And 10 years later, we've connected with thousands of women. And we also have a digital footprint of nearly 40,000 women. And so I started in a small town in Burgersfort, but we have expanded not only in South Africa, but the SADC regions. And I've got connections and amazing women that I've connected with in Nigeria, in Ghana, in Kenya. So that is, in a nutshell, what Rabasadi is and what we've been doing over the past 10 years.
Oh my goodness. So this is a really strong Pan-African movement. That is just so good to know. Yes, you know, because I mean, look, Black women really, we are the same everywhere. And I think that's such a beautiful space that you've created to connect. But you know what it reminds me of, Debatsone? It reminds me of like society back in the day. So if you're not familiar with, just South African culture, like mothers back in the 80s and the 90s used to gather and call the space society or Stokvel. And it was really a space created by women and it was about saving. So saving money, it was about connection and fellowship. It was about sharing good food, and also just holding each other accountable. I want to go back to that because I'm sure you've got a story around, perhaps how women created spaces of fellowship back in the day and how it inspired what you are doing now.
Yes, of course, yes. So I'm from matriarchal background. When you start things, you don't have the words for them. It's just I'm doing this because there's this like fire and passion in my heart. But I realized obviously over the years it stems from the fact that I'm from this household of such powerful women doing powerful things in their different things. I mean, my mom. She's an occupational nurse by profession, but I remember nearly 10 years ago, I was quite young, and she operates as her own practice. So she has her own practice, her own clinic, and she also is in property, and she's just been someone that I look up to because she works so hard and she's always equipping herself with information, and she's always willing to learn. So that's where my story actually comes from.
Beautiful.
It is 9 minutes before 2 p.m. Central African time. We are currently in conversation with the founder of Ribasadi about an upcoming dinner that is called Dinner Libasadi, a seat at the table for stories that matter. We continue the conversation right after this.
Get the news, music, and lifestyle of Africa on Channel Africa, the African perspective. We are on Open Views Audio Bouquet. Channel 628. The Upside, taking the African perspective to fresh levels.
Dibat, so you are having a dinner Libasadi. What is the purpose, the motive behind it, and what are you hoping to achieve through it?
So what we normally do at Rabasadi, so like I said, we've been running for 10 years.
Yeah.
And in the past 10 years, I've pivoted into different things. But the one thing that I have always pushed for is conversation. So when I started, I'm young, I'm a boss babe, I want to be a boss babe, I am all about the money. I'm trying to really have a successful career. And so that is 2015 all the way until 2020. COVID happens. And I made the decision, I think the following year, to move back home. So home is Burgersfort in Limpopo. Yeah. And I moved home and I started immersing myself in hobbies. And so I pick up different hobbies. I start cooking. I start doing little dinner setups, even just by myself. I don't invite people. I'm just okay, I feel like I need to pour into myself. Wow. And so I do that. And so from there, that's where the idea of a retreat was birthed. So that's how we have had our 2 retreats so far, and we're having another one in November. So we were traveling so where this comes from was, as women, I realized I feel so much in conversation, and most of the time it's because we're sitting having dinner, and I'm just telling my friend, oh my gosh, I have had the worst couple of months you will not believe. So there's this synergy around food, like you said, when our mothers have this society where they come together. And just generally when you think about growing up, you would see your mom and maybe the neighbor, they will sit there for hours having biscuits and tea and just talk. And there's something that I saw online recently, and it says that women have just saved each other a lot through conversation. And most of the ideas that I birth and that I put out is because I've had such personal experiences with them. I've healed so much in conversation when I'm sitting with my friends. Like there's been so many things that they've saved me from just because we shared food and we were in conversation. So that's what dinner in Ulevasadi and hopes to do. So kind of like just in between our retreats, just create a space, an inclusive space where women come together and they talk about anything and everything because we are multifaceted. Yeah.
Beautiful. So as I understand it, and thank you just for sharing what the atmosphere is like, to give us an idea of what we can expect, because I see there's a gathering that's going to be happening, one in Johannesburg and then one in Polokwane. Tell us more.
Yes, and one in Pretoria.
Yes.
So it's just candlelit dinner where we come. So I want to include the different elements of what we like as women. So dressing up, we come dressed up. We have like a nice candlelit dinner that serves a 3-course meal. So that's in a nutshell what the atmosphere is. And we just talk and you get to know new women in different spaces. Yeah. So it's a whole lot of strangers once again coming together to get to know each other.
So Johannesburg on the 12th of July, Pretoria on the 9th of August, and Polokwane on the 28th of August. How can women in those cities be a part of this? Sign up, RSVP?
So they can follow us on social media. We are at Rabasadi, Instagram and TikTok. And they can also send us an email on hello@rabasadi.co.za. That's where they can find us.
Okay. Tiba, so all the best with this movement. It's so beautiful to see that you are really touching women's lives in this manner. And I love what you said around healing through conversation. Isn't that just like a gift? And it's really just free. I mean, picking up the phone to talk to a woman who makes you feel safe and seen and loved is one way to heal our nervous systems. So I think it's wonderful. Any last words? One thing I've really just forgot to ask you is the honoring of one of the women that was part of the sisterhood, honoring Olerato's memory, Olerato Mongale, who unfortunately passed away after just a terrible circumstance where she went on a date and she just never returned. You know, talk to us about honoring her memory through this beautiful fellowship that you've created.
Yes. So when we traveled, a group of the ladies and I, to the funeral. And even on our way, they were just talking about how much she loved. And even at the funeral, some of her friends, she had different friendship groups. And they just shared so much about how she loved intentionally. And I think that's something that we are not taught, especially as young women. Most often than not, our mothers will tell us to stay away from friends and don't have friendships. And, you know, and the biggest takeaway I took from her funeral and from her mother was just loving with intention and having a support group. Women thrive in community, and we can't live in isolation. And this, and so some of the ladies were also just sharing about how she inspired them to continue with their degrees and, you know, sign up for things at work. And I think that's what womanhood and sisterhood does for all of us. And I think it's extremely important. So, yeah.
Tibatso, thank you so much for your time this afternoon and amazing work that you're doing. We certainly hope that those tables will be filled to the brim in July, August, and when else is it? End of July, end of August as well. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon and all the best.
Thank you so much for having me.
The founder of Ribasadi, Tibatso Molapo, check out their website, or not their website, on social media. Instagram, if you'd like to be a part of the Dina Libasadi, taking place on the 12th of July in Johannesburg, the 9th of August in Pretoria, Women's Day in South Africa,
Yeah.
and the 28th of August in Polokwane. All right, another interesting conversation that I would like to bring up before we throw it over to Onele Ntsinzi for the latest in news. Chasing the Sun, the documentary about the Springboks winning that 2019 World Cup. I remember it like it was yesterday. SABC Sport brings you Chasing the Sun, a powerful 5-part documentary series about the Springboks, telling the rousing tale of their path to redemption and ultimately World Cup glory in 2019. Starting on the 13th of July at 7:30 p.m. Central African Time on SABC2, tune in every Sunday for the highs, the heartache and the heroics that made rugby history. Stream each chapter on SABC Plus anytime, anywhere, no subscription needed. Don't miss Chasing the Sun this Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Central African Time on SABC2. Be there when history shines. Let's get the latest news.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Tebogo. Looking at your top stories, blast hits military base in Somali capital, and the U.S. brings sweeping changes to its non-immigrant visa policy for Nigeria. Your latest news, greetings to our listeners. An explosion hit a military base in the Somali capital, followed by gunfire, as the Al-Qaeda-linked militant Al-Shabaab group claimed responsibility for what it described as a suicide bomb attack. Al-Shabaab has waged an insurgency in Somalia since 2007. It made significant advances in the countryside this year. The new African Union peacekeeping mission in Somalia replaced a large force at the start of the year, but its funding is uncertain, with the United States opposed to a plan to transition to a UN financing model. In 2023, in a similar incident, a suicide bomber killed 25 soldiers at the same base. South Africa's National Police Commissioner Fani Masamula says they are ready to brief President Cyril Ramaphosa on the KwaZulu-Natal Police Commission Mkhwanazi's recent allegations. Mkhwanazi alleged during a media briefing on Sunday that senior police officials were working with syndicates to cover up high-profile crimes. Mkhwanazi also accused Police Minister Senzo Mchunu of receiving financial support from controversial businessman Vusimuzi Kat Matlala for his own political benefit. Masamula has conceded that Mkhwanazi's allegations are extremely worrying.
The current state of affairs is unprecedented and it is concerning, unfortunate, and requires uncompromised intervention to restore public trust, stability in the organization. We as SAPS, we acknowledge fully the commitment made by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of South Africa, President Cyril Ramaphosa, who said he will attend to this matter as soon as he arrives into the country. Members of the media, we are ready to brief the President, and as such, the National Commissioner could not have done anything now.
Meanwhile, South Africa's National Police Commissioner, Fani Masamula, has also confirmed that security has been tightened at the home of KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi because he's been receiving death threats. This after Mkhwanazi made corruption allegations against senior police officials. Mkhwanazi has accused them of having links to criminal syndicates, including drug cartels in the Gauteng province, and interfering in police operations. Masemola says Mkhwanazi needs protection.
In terms of physical protection, you know that, as I said, he's been getting threats to his life in that province. We have beefed up his security, but he won't be persecuted. From my side, surely there will be no persecution of any member of South African Police Service, not only him, but anyone.
The Kenya National Commission on Human Rights says the number of people killed in Monday's anti-government protests in Kenya has now risen to 31, sparking public outrage and calls for justice. The state-run commission previously said that 11 people had died, more than 100 people were injured, and about 532 arrested in the protests, which hit the capital Nairobi and other major cities. The UN said it was deeply troubled by the killings and criticized the Kenyan police for using lethal ammunition against protesters. The Kenya police still say that 11 people died. The United States has announced sweeping changes to its non-immigrant visa policy for Nigeria, cutting the duration and conditions under which most Nigerian travelers can enter the country. Starting on the 8th of July, the U.S. Department of State said nearly all non-immigrant and non-diplomatic visas issued to Nigerian citizens will now be single entry and valid for only 3 months. It says this is part of a global reciprocity realignment, a sharp shift from the previous visa terms, which often allowed for multiple entries over 2 years or more. Nigerians account for one of the highest number of student visa applications to the U.S. in the world. Recapping on your top stories, the Kenya National Commission of Human Rights says the number of people killed in the Monday's anti-government protests in Kenya has now risen to 31, sparking public outrage and calling for justice. The state-run commission previously said that 11 people had died. Now, for any news stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us at +27 11 714 4459. Channel Africa News, I am Onele Tsinzi.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Six minutes after 2 p.m. Central African Time. Welcome to the second hour of The Upside on Channel Africa, The African Perspective. We're coming to you live from the Auckland Park Studios in Johannesburg, South Africa. Good afternoon. How's your it's Tuesday. How's your Wednesday going? Happy Hump Day. We hope you're having a fantastic day so far, a productive one. If you're on your way home, allow us to get you there safely. My name is Tebogo Lekhuleni, and alongside the one and only Mmatsheko Mosito. In this hour, by the way, you can stream us live, check out our outfits, check out the studio at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube. If you have DSTV, it's channel 802. And as always, you can download that SABC Plus app on your Android or iOS device so you can take us with you wherever you go. I tell you what, excited about the next conversation because there's sort of like a love-hate relationship with SARS in South Africa.
Taxes. Yep.
Taxes.
It's one thing that's not going away. It's taxes. Okay, so we might as well just have a bit of fun with it.
Yeah.
The South African Revenue Services, they are running or launching rather an awareness campaign that they are calling Smart Taxpayers Do the Right Thing. Oh, the pressure that comes with the word.
That sounds like a threat. Hey,
do the right thing.
Do the right thing.
Now that you say it actually, it's very concerning. But anyway, here we are. We're here right now. We're paying taxes. We're working and we're contributing. And we know that taxes are an important thing to pay because they really contribute to the running of a republic. Okay, and in this case, we're talking about 100%. The Republic of South Africa. But I mean, I don't know. What do people do with their tax returns?
What
these
do
days?
They do with their tax returns? Right now, if I were to get my tax return, I'll definitely probably just go on holiday.
That is a very wise thing to do.
No, it's not. No, so I think you rather invest it or make it grow or something.
You are
Investing.
You are investing in self. You are rewarding yourself because
myself, yes.
it is your money, and I think going on holiday really is an investment. You know, we can maybe discuss that another day. It is an investment in your nervous system, in your well-being.
Well, fair enough.
And you get to learn new geographies.
Fair enough.
So it is an investment.
Let us know what you are going to do. What are you going to do with your tax return?
Well, if I do get some tax return.
If you do get something.
If I do get something, because look, I'm always in the red. But if I do get something this year, I might also just invest it in some or other type of experience. Ooh. Whether it's a holiday or just experimenting and doing something that I've never done before. You know, you only live once. That's what the young ones say. So try and experiment as much as you can, learn and expand in that manner.
So I've got a question. In light of, you know how our taxes go to work. They go and work. They work on building the roads, building infrastructures, hospitals, so on and so forth, police services. Now that there are recent revelations happening in the police section there, can we ask for a portion of our...
Good luck with that.
Let me not go into that.
Good luck with that.
Let me not go into that one. It is 10 minutes after 2 p.m. Central African time. Don't miss out on the big game that will be taking place on Saturday between Italy and South Africa, the Springboks. Because Mzansi, this is more than just a game. It's a celebration of history. 30 years ago, the Springboks united our nation with that iconic Rugby World Cup victory. And now, the mighty Boks are back. Don't miss South Africa versus Italy in the 30th anniversary commemoration match this Saturday, the 12th of July at 4 p.m. Central African time. Watch it live on SABC2 or stream it anywhere on the SABC Plus app. Download the SABC Plus app today on Android or iOS or your smart TV. Switch to stream, no subscription. SABC Sport, for the love of the game.
Africa Update on Channel Africa with Lulu Kabu.
The situation in northern Mozambique's Cabo Delgado province continues to deteriorate, with fresh reports revealing a sharp rise in child abductions and mass displacements. What needs to be done to address the root causes of the conflict in your view? And especially just considering that resources are at the center of all of this.
This has now been going on since the end of 2017 in terms of the armed conflict, but the underlying factors have been in play really for generations now in the Mozambican setting, and the socio-economic drivers which have provided space for exploitation by external forces and by radicalized internal elements are really keeping a pilot light under this conflict. And the Mozambican government has struggled both in terms of its hard security response, but also in terms of its soft security and its development response to address the key drivers in play. And so we are likely to see a continuation of this kind of conflict.
Pierce Piju.
Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time. Broadcasting in 5 different languages, connecting the continent. This is Channel Africa, the African perspective. The Upside, 1 to 4 p.m. Central African Time. With Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mosito. Only on Channel Africa, the African perspective.
There is fire on the mountain, and nobody seems to be on the run. Oh, there is fire on the mountain top, and no one is running. I wake up in the morning, tell you what I see on my TV screen. I see the blood of an innocent child, and everybody's watching. Now I'm looking out my window, and what do I see? I see an army of a soldier man marching across the street. Hey, hey, Mr. Soldier Man, the day you go to war. Boy, you are fighting for another man's cause, and you don't even know him. Ooh, what did it say to make you so blind to your conscience and reason? Could it be love for your country or for the gun you using killing? So there is fire on the mountain, and nobody seems to be on the run. Oh, there is fire on the mountain top, and no one is running. Hey, Mr. Loverman, can I get a chance to talk to you? 'Cause you are fooling with a dead man's corpse, and you don't know what you do. So you say you have a lover, and you love her like no other. So you buy her a diamond that someone has died. Oh, don't you think there's something wrong with this? Tell me, who's responsible for what we teach our children? Is it the internet or the stars on television? Why, oh, why? Why, oh, why, oh? Oh, so little Lucy turned 16, and like the movie she's been seeing, she has a lover in her daddy. She can't tell nobody till she makes the evening news. For there is fire on the mountain, and there is nobody. Oh, there is fire on the mountain top, and no one is running. Oh, yes. One day the river will overflow, and there'll be nowhere for us to go, and we will run, run, wishing we had put out the fire. Oh, Lord, for there is fire on the mountain, yeah, yeah, and there is nobody, nobody. Oh, there is fire on the mountain, and no one is running. So yeah, yeah, yeah. There is fire, fire in Africa, oh, fire everywhere in the sea, yeah, in the air, no one is surrounding. Fire, 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 yeah, yeah.
SARS, my darling, SARS, it's time for you to shine. It's time for you to shine. Many brews around us are technically insolvent. It's time for you to shine. You could save a relationship today. You could save a friendship. You could save somebody's car, bro. West Bank is waiting, frothing at the mouth. That tax return, bro. We need those refunds, bro. We need those refunds. A lot of us are banking on it, bro. Brews are spending money recklessly because they thought SARS is going to bail me out like SARS bailed me out last year. SARS, do the right thing. Pay the brews.
He really is. He's not making that up. People literally wait for tax season, and they wait to, kind of like budget a little bit on the tax return that they anticipate is going to be coming. So the gentleman in that clip really speaking, I think, for many, especially young people that are looking to kind of support themselves or augment a little bit of finances through the tax return. I know it's a dangerous game to play. Hey?
We're going to see ridiculous purchases because of these tax returns. Actually, think of something ridiculous that you would have bought with that tax return of yours. Something ridiculous. Doesn't have to make sense. But what's the most ridiculous thing that you'd buy?
Look, I literally I meditate myself out of retail therapy because that really makes me so happy. spending money on shoes and fresh linens and nice lipstick, things like that. But look, in my defense, I'm a Sagittarius and I love beautiful things.
Oh my goodness. I think a ridiculous thing that I would spend that money on would be a cap.
A cap?
Yes.
This must be a very expensive
A
cap.
very expensive cap that just says SARS at the top.
Oh no, thank you. Near donkey.
Have you seen those TikTok videos of they show a video of the person saying and they have the caption, "This is who I'm doing it for." Right? This is who I'm doing it for. And then they hold a picture frame, and in that picture frame it says SARS. I'm working so hard for SARS. All right, it's tax season again, and doing the right thing has never been more important. The Office of the Tax Ombudsman has launched its 2025 awareness campaign under the theme Smart Taxpayers Do the Right Thing. Joining us now, we are joined by Russell Mamabolo to tell us a bit more about this campaign. He is the Specialist Communications and Outreach, as well as Pearl Siopela. I hope I said your surname properly. Pearl, yes. Senior Manager, Communications and Stakeholder Relations. Pearl and Russell, thank you so much for your time and welcome to the Upside.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Tebogo. And we really appreciate for giving us this opportunity to articulate, how taxpayers, smart taxpayers should be doing the right thing. It's a great opportunity. Thanks.
Thank you, Tebogo. Thank you for the opportunity that you're giving the Office of the Tax Ombudsman. We're excited to share the launch of the 2025 tax season campaign under the theme Smart Taxpayers Do the Right Thing.
Hey, we're going to find out in a few seconds whether when you say do the right thing, is that a threat? But I will ask properly. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we continue the conversation about the Tax Ombudsman campaign. Smart Taxpayers Do the Right Thing.
Zilipendwa na Abedi Jean de la Croix.
Anaitwa Daniel Etienne Benson. Huyu alizaliwa mwaka 1997, ilikuwa Mei 14, na anajulikana kitaalamu kabisa kwa jina la muziki BNXN. Haya, ni mwanamuziki huyo, ni mwimbaji kutoka nchini Nigeria, mtunzi wa nyimbo na mtayarishaji wa record label. Ameshirikiana na Rema kwenye wimbo huu. Rema vile vile ni msanii kutoka huko nchini Nigeria.
Zilipendwa kila Jumamosi kuanzia saa 12 kamili majira ya Afrika ya Kati hadi saa 1 kamili majira ya Afrika ya Kati.
Call us on +27 63 406 9126 and contribute to the conversation. Mmatsheko, Mosito and Tebogo Lekhuleni on the Upside.
Well, we've got SARS on the line, the Office of the Tax Ombudsman. And if you have wondered, I know a lot of people have been asking on social media, hey, have you received that SMS? Hey, I haven't received my SMS yet. They're here now. You can ask them directly. Our WhatsApp line is +27 63 406 9126. We are currently on the line, or joined on the line by Mr. Russell Mamabolo, Specialist Communications and Outreach, and Pearl Siopela, Senior Manager, Communications and Stakeholder Relations. Mr. Russell, let's start with you. What inspired this year's theme? Smart Taxpayers Do the Right Thing. And is that a threat?
No, definitely it's not a threat. Last year we ran with a very successful campaign, Be a Smart Taxpayer. Yeah. And we're trying to portray a message. And it's a sort of a shift from raising awareness, but to encourage action from the taxpayers. I mean, you can imagine, we are the Office of the Tax Ombudsman. Basically, we assist taxpayers with complaints they have against SARS. And we are saying, upfront, make sure you do the right thing. Basic things like understand the SARS has gone out on their own campaign as well, saying, and now, from the 7th yesterday to the 20th July, you will be receiving an auto-assessment. Basically, auto-assessment is, a communication that SARS assesses and they send you communication, your tax returns for, maybe, employees or people or taxpayers out there who only received, a one income from one source of income.
Yeah.
And it's quicker, for them to be able to do those calculations. Have a look at it. Don't ignore that message. Have a look at that message. Try to understand. If you don't, pick up a phone, contact SARS, they'll be able to take you through, and then you'll know that you are okay. Because if you ignore the message, then it's basically, a challenge. Because hence we say, do the right thing. Don't ignore the messages, but look into what communication that comes from SARS, so that when you come to us and complain, then you have a full understanding on what you are complaining about. So do the right thing. It's an encouragement to taxpayers out there to act proactively, but to a certain extent as well, for you to be able to understand your rights as a taxpayer.
Pearl, talk to me about, I think, just in expansion on Mr. Russell's explanation on the role of the Tax Ombud, which is a platform for people to, put forth their concerns and complaints, if they've got any issues with the South African Revenue Service. What are some of the common complaints that you get? I think also this will give an indication of, how, or rather give expansion on the role of the Tax Ombud, as it were.
Okay, thank you, Mmatsheko. So the Office of the Tax Ombud assists taxpayers who have complaints about SARS. For example, if SARS is not treating you fairly, you are waiting for a refund and they are delaying your refund, and you have followed a right process and they're still taking you from pillar to post, then you go to their platforms on their CMO, the Complaints Management Office, and you complain to them to say, I've been waiting for my refund, but it's still delayed, and I've been promised that I will get it on certain date, and they're still not coming back to you. Once you have complained to their CMO, we call it the Complaints Management Office, then you can come to the Office of the Tax Ombud. We have the SARS system in our office. We are able to look at your complaint and say, oh, okay, Mmatsheko got a complaint with SARS, and she has already complained, and she followed all the processes, and they're still delaying. Then we make you to lodge a complaint. We give you a form. You lodge a complaint. You put submitting documents, your reference number. We instruct SARS. We look at the merit of the case. We instruct SARS to say, SARS, but Mmatsheko has followed the right process, but you're still delaying. Why? Can you please pay Mmatsheko? And at the same time, Mmatsheko, they can even pay you an interest. So it depends on the time when they delayed your refund. So those are the type of complaints on delaying your refund. At some point, they also not harassing you. When SARS harasses you, you can come to the Office of the Tax Ombud. They are not allowed to harass you. You have a right to lodge a complaint when you feel that they are harassing you. Also, Mmatsheko, at the same time, we want taxpayers to be compliant. We want taxpayers to know their rights. Now, in terms of this campaign, Smart Taxpayers Do the Right Thing, as Russell has explained, we are pushing for rights, that you have a right to be treated fairly, a right to be respected, not to be harassed. There are a lot of rights that you have in the Office of the Tax Ombud that we can share with you. And at the same time, we say, hey, Mmatsheko, please comply with SARS. Hence Russell was saying that if SARS sends you an email or a SMS, I know most of the people panic, Mmatsheko. They panic and they think like, message from SARS. No, you look at it, you call them or you drop them an email or you go to your e-filing and you check what are they saying. Please don't ignore them, especially people who work in your industry, because you do a lot of jobs. You work at SABC, you work at Metro, you work at a lot of places, you are a speaker somewhere. SARS have an access to your profile. They know how many, the amount of money that you get from all these companies that you work for. Now, during the e-filing, then they assess you and you don't declare everything. But let me tell you, they can take everything. They can wipe your bank account. They have the power to wipe your bank account, but they must still follow the process, give you 10 days and communicate to you. But most of the time, you find that SARS might forget to communicate, or it can be everybody does an error. It can be an error that they didn't communicate to you, and then they wipe your bank account. You come to complain to us. It's a complaining matter. We say, hey, SARS, You didn't follow process. Please take the money back and follow the proper process to Mmaseko. So there are a lot of things that people don't know about their rights when they deal with SARS.
Yeah.
And at the same time, people don't want to comply. You know, they think that you can eat all the monies that you get from your service providers without complying with SARS. By the way, they will get you and you'll be crying.
No,
It's very important
it's
that
good.
when I speak to people like you,
Yeah.
I inform you that please, even if you get a lot of money from wherever that you get it, make sure that you're honest with your taxes, because that doesn't mean they're weird.
It's good that you are mentioning all these things, and also important that you're referencing the fact that we have rights, but it's also important that we are also compliant, whichever industry we find ourselves in. Mr. Russell, very, very quickly, we are out of time. Tell us about the 2-day activation at Menlyn. What can the public expect and how can they get involved?
Yes, we do have this activation at Menlyn on this Friday on the 11th as well as Saturday. It's only for 2 days. So our presence there, we will be assisting, taxpayers who wants to complain, and they will also be having SARS as well. So it's a joint effort where we are trying to say, if you complain about SARS, here are they. You first engage with them, and then after that, you come on our stand as well, so that we are able to assist. So basically, whoever wants to check the status in terms of their existing complaints, and then we also will be having experts there, who also can guide you in terms of the questions that you might have. So we are actually calling people out there, taxpayers there, who have issues. They can come to us there. We are at the Menlyn Shopping Mall, just next to Starbucks.
Pearl and Mr. Russell, thank you so much for shining a light on this very important tax conversation. And we hope that there are certainly more abiding, more compliant taxpayers this year, and that indeed we will be doing the right thing. Thank you so much for your time, and we can't wait to see the activation this weekend.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you.
Representatives of the SARS Office of the Tax Ombud. If you didn't know, now you know. There's a place where you can go and complain about SARS and say, hey, SARS is abusing me, SARS is doing things that they shouldn't be. Love the fact that there's representation for the taxpayer, but also you be compliant. 30 minutes after 2 p.m. Central African time, Musibudi Makura is standing by with sports.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Tebogo. A very good afternoon once again from the Sports Desk. We'll start with football news. So Finnish first-tier team HIFK Football Club has invited South African under-17 international defender Lefa Molefe for a trial that could see him making his first-ever entry in European football. So Molefe is part of the Remember Elite Sports Academy, an academy based in the south of Johannesburg, and is a feeder team to most of the top Premier Soccer League academies in Gauteng province in particular. So the head of the program, Olane Matumbo, says they hope Molefe's invite will open doors for them abroad.
We received a request for one of our boys who's currently in the under-17 national team to come be assessed. We're looking forward to that, and for us, we've had players that have went abroad before, but it was never through us. If you look at Meima Hlangu, he went through the Stars of Africa. If you look at Calvin Kadi, at the time he went through, just before he came back to Bidvest, he went through Steve Haupt as well. So now for the first time, the boys going through us. So
at the same time, playing in the Gauteng Development League, RSSA has also produced the likes of Tabang Monare, Luandi, Mabuya, Mududuzi Mdanzane, as well as a newly signed Orlando Pirates attacker, Tsapang Moremi. Now, Matumbo, a former Wits University Academy player, says this is an opportunity for them to also start channeling players directly to Europe.
We are seeing an opportunity and we want to grab it with both hands. We've even put it, at his age, he's already part of the Engine squad. So you'll be seeing him at the Engine Cup now in the 18, 19, 20, in making sure that we prepare him for playing with bigger boys. Obviously, we know that when he goes aboard, The difference is you are always going to play with bigger boys, and this is one of the ways that we are trying to prepare him for that. And we hope that this is going to be a one-way ticket and not coming back.
On to women's football news now. The Morocco Democratic Republic of Congo match tonight at the Stade Olympique is Rabat feels like the last chance for both sides. So 1 point for the host nation, while 0 points for the Democratic Republic of Congo. The stage is set and the equation is quite simple. So to avoid a premature exit from the Total Energies CAF Women's Africa Cup of Nations tournament, both teams must win this encounter. After a frustrating 2-2 draw against Zambia just last weekend, the Atlas Lionesses know they have no room for error. In front of their home crowds later on tonight, they will also have to show character and efficiency against a wounded Congolese side that is defeated by the resounding Senegal by 4-0 in their first match of the competition, but is now determined to recover from that setback. For the Congolese side, it's a different story. There is no question of just playing for the part, despite also the heavy initial defeat. The DR Congo are bottom of Group A with no points and need to win today to avoid an early exit from this year's competition. Further field now, all the evidence so far suggests Portuguese footballer Diogo Jota was driving when his car crashed on the Spanish motorway, and he probably was speeding. That's according to the police. The 28-year-old Liverpool player was killed with his brother Andre Silva, 25 years of age, when their Lamborghini car had a suspected tyre blowout in the northwestern Zamora province early last Friday. Now, Spain's Judicial Civil Police Force said at the time the car had apparently been overtaking on the A52 motorway near Palacios de Sanibra when it left the road and burst into flames. Tire marks were analysed some distance from where the Lamborghini tyre blew out. Police said they had studied the marks left by one of the Lamborghini's tyres and that all the tests carried out so far indicate that the driver of the crashed vehicle was Diogo Jota. The expert report is being prepared for the courts on the accident, and the investigation is also understood to have made more complex by the intensity of the fire that almost completely destroyed the car. The brothers had been heading to the Spanish port of Santander so Jota could return to Liverpool for pre-season training. Meanwhile, both brothers were buried this past weekend. And finally, defending women's Afro-Basket champions, Nigeria will begin their title defense against Rwanda on the 26th of July, the opening day of the competition in Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire, which runs from the 26th of July to the 3rd of August. Channel Africa's Tony Obani reports.
The winners of the 4 groups will qualify automatically for the quarterfinals, while the second and third teams in each group will play a qualifying series to determine who joins the group leaders in the last 8. Group A consists of hosts Cote d'Ivoire, Angola and Egypt. Group B has Mali, Cameroon and South Sudan, while Group C and D have Senegal, Uganda and Guinea, as well as Nigeria, Rwanda and Mozambique, respectively. Reigning champions, the Tigers, who are chasing a record-extending 7th Afro basketball title, will be looking to recover from a quarter-final exit at the 2024 Paris Olympics.
Right, so that concludes your sports news this hour. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, simply send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or give us a call on +27 11714 4459. For Channel Africa Sport, I am Musibudi Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective. For Mandela, life was about making a difference, not just living. This Mandela Day, Channel Africa honors that legacy.
It is for humanity or for society to decide how I should be remembered. I am not a saint unless you think of a saint as sin keeps on trying.
On Channel Africa.
The African perspective.
The Upside, live and real.
37 minutes after 2 p.m. Central African time, as we enjoy our lovely studio here in Channel Africa. You're more than welcome to see the studio and see our amazing outfits for the day at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube. Let's say good afternoon again to Chanduko Ligege for business news.
business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thank you, Tebogo, and good afternoon. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent will for the second time skip a G20 finance ministers meeting in South Africa to be hosted in Durban next week. According to a Treasury spokesperson, Bessent would rather attend the 2025 World Expo in Osaka, Japan. Bessent, one of Trump's top cabinet officials, earlier skipped the first G20 finance and central bank governors meeting in Cape Town this past February. Sean Bryce Peace reports that the White House is yet to formally confirm President Donald Trump's attendance of the G20 Leaders Summit in South Africa in November.
A Treasury official has since confirmed that the acting Undersecretary for International Affairs, Michael Kaplan, would travel to the G20 meeting in Durban instead of Bessent. South Africa had been working to mend bilateral relations with the United States, but those efforts were dealt another blow when President Donald Trump sent President Cyril Ramaphosa a letter this week informing him that 30% tariffs on all South African exports to the United States would kick in on August 1st unless South Africa reduced trade barriers to its market. One of several countries to receive similar letters, including Japan, where Bessent will travel to instead of the G20.
Africa Unlocked is scheduled to start today until Friday in Cape Town, South Africa. Returning for its second consecutive year in 2025, Africa Unlocked is a strategic movement shaping the future of African commerce, investment and industrialization through dynamic dialogue and cutting-edge insights. Executive Head of Africa Regions and Offshore for Business and Commercial Banking, Andrew Mashanda.
So in terms of our objectives, again, we'll continue with the theme of redefining Africa's narrative, looking at how we can shift Africa from aid dependency to actually full participation in the global value chains and having a significant influence. We're also looking at intra-Africa trade. How do we accelerate the implementation of the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement? We also want to showcase the innovation that exists across the continent.
The Financial Sector Conduct Authority says it remains committed to investigating high-impact financial crimes in South Africa, such as money laundering, fraud, corruption and financing terrorism. In its last regulatory actions report, the FSCA says there has been an almost 60% increase in new cases it has received. The Financial Sector Watchdog says 70% of the cases are related to unregistered financial services and insurance activities. This is for the period between April the 1st, 2024 and the end of March this year. FSCA Commissioner Unathi Kamnana.
The strategic intent here is to begin to deploy advanced digital tools and analytics, the use of analytics to detect misconduct earlier, where we are able to respond faster, much more efficiently, and coordinate more effectively across the supervisory landscape. And this is particularly important given the growing wave of digital scams.
In North Africa, Egypt's annual urban consumer price inflation slowed to 14.9% in June from 16.8% in May. According to Egypt's statistics agency, CAPMAS, the drop in inflation is steeper than the median forecast of 15 analysts polled by Reuters, which had seen annual urban consumer inflation last month at 16.2%. Urban food and beverages prices were down 1.2% overall compared to May in 2025, but were up by 6.9% against June 24. Urban inflation on a monthly basis inched down in June by 0.1% compared to May, as meat and poultry prices were down by 3.8%, fruits by 2.1% and vegetables by 1%. The European Central Bank Chief Economist Philip Lane says the bank will consider risks beyond trade tariffs, from security concerns to potential penalties on foreign investors, when it assesses the global landscape. Lane was discussing the bank's monetary policy strategy, including the updated monetary policy strategy, in an event in Brussels in Belgium earlier today. He says the uncertainty extends beyond the calibration of new tariff regimes. Lane also says it includes the possibility of a broader set of non-tariff barriers, a deeper intertwining of economic policies and security safety policies and possible revisions to the treatment of foreign portfolio investors and foreign direct investors. Now let's have a look at financial indicators in this hour. $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,000 Naira 529, Botswana 13 Pula 19, Kenya the dollar is at 128 shilling 494, Zambia 24 Kwacha 17. BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is at 5 Real 46, in Russia 78 rubles 43, India 85 rupee 72, China 71 17, South Africa 17 rand 79 cents. $1 is trading at 73 pence to the British pound and 85 to the euro. Commodities, gold is at $3,285, platinum at $1,348 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil $70.27 a barrel. That is all for now. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za, or you can call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Chanduko Ligege.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. The Midnight Snack, 12 to 3 a.m.
Young couples or young people that are getting married, we often hear of divorces, that they're getting divorced, and it's quite worrying because when we attend these weddings, we want to see these people flourish and celebrate 30-year anniversaries. What do you think is the main challenge that is facing newlyweds?
We say that tell me how you were raised and I'll tell you how you love. So when we see people getting married, that's not where the relationship actually starts. The relationship starts with how you were raised, what you were familiar with, because we are attracted to what we are familiar with. If you don't have a background where love was prominent, where love was authentic, it's going to be very difficult for you to manufacture that in later life. So our upbringing has something to do with it.
The Midnight Snack, every Monday, 12 to 3 a.m. with Chanduko Ligege. Tune in and turn up the volume. This is Channel Africa. Tamengubene talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Mariamo Kumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10, we take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine, 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda, as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tebogo and Mmatsheko Mosito. Tamengubene talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Mariamo Kumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10, we take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the Portuguese, the languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act.
She wanna chill with the big boys. She want money, she want enjoy. When she with me, give her ding dong. She in my feet with the big boys. She wanna chill with the big boys. She want money, she want enjoy. When she with me, give her ding dong, make her enjoy with the big boys.
Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. For business, for culture, for Africa, partner with Channel Africa, because Africa's voice is the future. Africa is a story, a living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent, African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices: English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every...
I'm a big boy, enjoy, give a big fuss, I'm a enjoy, with a big boss, I'm a big boy, enjoy, give a big fuss.
Perspective. Join us every single weekday, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Central African Time for the ultimate afternoon drive show.
Give me a couple seconds. Lifestyle, news. I go pick you in a phantom. We can go to Samsung. I go drop a couple racks on you, cause you a bad you fit that for me. That's all me. And we are feel love for me. If you bet that for me, that's all me. Your love for me. With a big boy, I'm a big boy, enjoy, give a big fuss, I'm a enjoy, with a big boy, I'm a big boy, enjoy, give a big fuss. Big boy, yeah, she let her call me Poppy. Late at night, yeah, she ride it like a Harley. Anything you want just to make you happy.
What's it saying? Oh my goodness, what is it saying? Mmatsheko, don't do that.
Yelebe. So it's an Ethiopian word, yelebe. I don't know, I'm guessing that's Amharic, but it is a beautiful composition by Hallelujah. That is the main artist. Hallelujah, yelebe.
This is us learning. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what you.
No, I love it for
glad
us.
that we are learning a thing or two from the African continent. This is The Upside on Channel Africa with me, Tebogo, Lekhuleni, and Mmatsheko Mosito, with you all the way to 4 p.m. Central African time. Do you remember when the Springboks won the 2019 World Cup? Celebration galore. Was it that same year? I can't remember if it was that same year when everyone wanted us to have a public holiday because they won. Can't remember if it was the 2019 one or the recent one that they won. Either way, SABC Sport brings you Chasing the Sun, a powerful 5-part documentary series about the Springboks, telling the rousing tale of their path to redemption and ultimate World Cup glory in 2019. Starting 13 July at 7:30 p.m. Central African Time on SABC2, tune in every Sunday for the highs, the heartache, and the heroics that made rugby history. Stream each chapter on SABC Plus anytime, anywhere. No subscription needed. Don't miss Chasing the Sun this Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Central African Time on SABC2. Be there when history shines.
Ahoy, matey!
Captain here to help, right, boys?
Set sail with us on a digital voyage like no other. Channel Africa has a treasure trove of awesomeness. That is our website and social media pages.
Tell me, why are you here?
We want you to be part of our adventure.
The winds are changing, Captain. And this time...
Imagine a world where curiosity knows no bounds, where entertainment meets enlightenment, and where every click leads to the African perspective. Visit us on our website, www.channelafrica.co.za, or follow us on Instagram or on X at Channel Africa 1. Go on, like us on Facebook at Channel Africa 1. So, spread the word. Tell a friend that Channel Africa's online variety is what they need on the web. Channel Africa, the African perspective. They talk about what Africans say about Africa.
Return on. A ridiculous purchase. It doesn't have to make sense to the rest of us, but maybe to you it does. What's the most ridiculous thing, the craziest thing that you would buy or spend your tax return on? Mmatsheko?
Look, also with real ingredients, because that's what I cook. A good amount of money. Listen,
A good amount. Okay. All right.
That will have my heart.
I want to buy a machine that allows me to move up the stairs.
Because you don't want to walk.
I don't want to walk. Tired of walking. So a machine or an equipment or something, I don't know, maybe a wheelchair that can adjust and contort, and so it can go up the stairs. I just sit there.
Aren't you a bit too young to be starting to think about I'm tired to walk? Do you realize you've got another 100 years to live?
Do you know?
I mean, really?
First of all, right, these stairs that we have at the SABC, right?
Good training
Fair
ground.
enough. My heart is stronger now. Over the past couple of days, weeks, so on, my heart is stronger because of those days. But if I mean, look, we were trying to buy something crazy and something weird with these tax returns, right?
You.
So I would buy a wheelchair or something that can allow me to move up the stairs while I just sit there.
And you'd splurge good money on that.
I would spend all the money, all of it, leave nothing behind, all of it. When I come to the SABC, I just sit in that, I just roll in, then roll up the stairs, and then roll into studio.
Okay, so we've got a roller for the stairs, and we've got a wholesome meal. I don't know, can you top that? What would you splurge on? Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. You can send us a WhatsApp voice note, actually, +2763 406 9126. You can drop us a line there. Otherwise, our suggestion box, that's Twitter at Channel Africa 1, #The Upside.
Shift every milestone and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. For business, for culture, for Africa, partner with Channel Africa because Because Africa's voice is the future. Africa is a story, a living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent, African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices: English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe.
It is certainly not cold outside. Well, it is cold outside. It's warm in the studio. And Onele Nsinsi is standing by with the news at 3 p.m. Central African Time.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Tebogo. Looking at your top stories, Cameroon opposition political parties failed to produce a beer competition, and indirect talks between Israel and Hamas stalling. Your latest news. Greetings to our listeners. Opposition political parties in Cameroon meeting in the capital Yaoundé have failed to produce a single candidate to face 92-year-old Paul Biya in the Central African state's October presidential elections. Civil society groups and analysts say if the country's fragmented opposition fails to unite to face Biya, the incumbent, who is the world's oldest leader, will win the elections, extending his 4-decade-long rule. Edward Nfo, a member of the Cameroon Civil Society Group, says Cameroon's opposition must be united and stop competing in dispersed ranks.
Opposition parties in Cameroon are playing with the emotions of millions of Cameroonians who want change from October, who want change this year. I don't know if our opposition leaders actually know what Cameroonians want. Everyone is coming and announcing his or her candidacy, and the consequences of this can be very, very disastrous. I see this as greed, total greed on the part of our opposition leaders. Everyone wants to have the power, all the power for himself. It is greed. The consequences can be very disastrous if the opposition doesn't take power in October.
Kenyan President William Ruto has said anyone taking part in looting and arson during anti-government protests in the country should be shot in the leg. Ruto said attacks on police would be considered a declaration of war on Kenya. Speaking during a visit to a construction site, he warned against attempts to overthrow the government.
I saw them saying that they won't wait for the elections in 2027. They want to plan chaos, protests, burn people's property, cause death in Kenya, so that they can overthrow the Kenyan government before 2027. I dare them to try.
South Africa's National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola has confirmed that security has been tightened at the home of KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi because he's been receiving death threats. This after Mkhwanazi made corruption allegations against senior police officials, including Police Minister Senzo Mchunu. Mkhwanazi has accused them of having links to criminal syndicates, including drug cartels in the Gauteng province, and interfering in police operations. Masemola says Mkhwanazi needs protection.
In terms of physical protection, you know that, as I said, he's been getting threats to his life in that province. We have beefed up his security, but he won't be persecuted. From my side, surely there will be no persecution of any member of South African Police Service, not only him, but anyone.
South African Police Service Crime Intelligence Unit boss Dumisani Khumalo has been temporarily removed from the unit following allegations of fraud and corruption. Khumalo and 6 other senior police officials were arrested last month. However, he and 5 co-accused were released on bail. The 7th accused has a pending corruption case and remains behind bars. Addressing the media virtually, National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola said the Western Cape Hawks head Solomon Mokgato would act in Khumalo's opposition.
The Human Resource Division of the SAPS has processed the matter in line with the SAPS disciplinary regulations of 2016. All 7 these senior officers has been temporarily transferred out of Division Crime Intelligence, pending more information which we have requested from IDEC that will indicate to us as to what further course of action we can do.
Lastly, a Palestinian official has told the BBC that indirect talks between Israel and Hamas are stalling, with the key sticking point being how aid should be delivered to Gaza during any ceasefire. The official said Israel was insisting that aid must still be distributed through the US and Israeli-backed private organization GHF. Earlier, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu held further talks with Donald Trump. The BBC's Sebastian Asher.
The choreography of meetings between President Trump and Mr. Netanyahu has given the impression that the momentum towards a ceasefire and release of hostages in Gaza is growing. In his latest comments, the Israeli Prime Minister repeated that the elimination of Hamas's military and governing capabilities remains his principal objective, alongside the release of all the remaining hostages. But it's unclear if much progress has so far been made after 3 days of talks in Doha.
Recapping on your top stories, opposition political parties in Cameroon meeting in the capital Yaoundé have failed to produce a single candidate to face the 92-year-old Paul Biya in the Central African state's October presidential elections. For any news stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us at +27 11 714 4459. Channel Africa News, I am Onele Tsinzi.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Seven minutes after 3 p.m. Central African Time. Can you believe it's the final hour of The Upside this afternoon on Channel Africa, The African Perspective, with me, Tebogo, Lekhuleni, and the one and only Mmatsheko, Mosito. We're coming to you live from the Auckland Park Studios in Johannesburg, South Africa. Stream us on our social media platforms at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube, and let us know where you are tuned in from this afternoon, anywhere on the African continent. +27, actually anywhere around the world, +27 406 9126. In this hour, ma'am, we are talking about a very important topic, which is skincare for the babies. Organic for the little babies.
A little baby. I'm getting broody just thinking about babies. Oh my goodness. But here we are. We are looking at Ego Baby products. They are really all about, basically in the business of natural, calming baby products, also certified organic, as I understand it. So 100% natural, actually, is the wording here. 100% natural skincare range that is very safe, hydrating, and very soothing for babies. And I think if we can start them at that age with as much organic food, as much organic product, as much organic cotton on their skin as possible, the better.
Coconut oil, avocado oil, are those good for the skin?
Absolutely perfect. And coconut oil actually is also a natural sunscreen. So
really,
yes,
it's not. Is it not too oily and it cause you to burn?
No. It absorbs very quickly into the skin.
Okay.
So if you buy a nice, fragrant, organic coconut oil and you rub it on your skin, and and the beautiful thing about coconut oil, and it's safe for babies, you can put it in you can ingest it and you can put it on your skin. So already that tells you that it's safe to use. So products like that, but it's going to be very interesting to find out how the creators, particularly the creative director, Mpumi Nopiva, who we're going to be speaking to about this soothing, 100% natural skincare range for children, is looking at skincare for babies and the future thereof.
Ego baby products. That conversation is coming up next. Perhaps you'd like to share some of your products that you're using on baby that have been good for baby skin. Let us know on our WhatsApp line +27 63406 9126. There's a big game coming up this Saturday on SABC, on SABC2 to be precise. The Springboks going up against Italy. And Mzansi, this is more than just a game, it's a celebration of history. 30 years ago, the Springboks united our nation with that iconic Rugby World Cup victory, and now the mighty Boks are back. Don't miss South Africa versus Italy in the 30th anniversary commemoration match this Saturday, the 12th of July at 4 p.m. Central African Time. Watch it live on SABC2 or stream it anywhere on SABC Plus app. Download the SABC Plus app today on iOS or Android, or your smart TV. Switch to stream. No subscription. SABC Sport, for the love of the game.
Je, una jambo lolote akilini mwako? Je, una shauku kuhusu masuala muhimu? Na je, una maoni ambayo unataka yasikike? Kweli, hili jukwaa ni la kwako. Piga simu au tuandikie kwenda WhatsApp namba alama ya kujumulisha 2760552594 na tutakupigia simu.
Mtangazaji wa habari zetu za Afrika Kusini mjini Johannesburg.
Hivyo unaweza kuwa mshirika kwenye matangazo yetu. Sio mazungumzo tu, ni fursa yako ya kuchangia maoni yako na kushirikiana na jumuiya ya wasikilizaji wanaotamani mtazamo wako. Tufuate kwenye mitandao ya kijamii. Tembelea tovuti yetu www.channelafrica.co.za na uwe tayari kushiriki na kuchangia maoni yako kwenye Channel Africa. Channel Africa, mtazamo wa Kiafrika.
Africa. It's time to plug into the heartbeat of the continent. Tune in to Channel Africa, your go-to radio station that broadcasts in 5 different languages.
L'Afrique du Sud célèbre la journée nationale du
Kabla hujaitwa kwa jina la Double K,
or more of our forests have been destroyed.
Partido Africano da Independência da Guiné.
See, Channel Africa represents every corner of this amazing land. From Lagos to Cape Town, Nairobi to Dakar, we've got you covered with the freshest news, music, and cultures. So, turn up the volume, feel the rhythm. Enjoy the conversation. Channel Africa, the African perspective. If it's news and current affairs, leading opinions, and thought leaders that get your groove, this is your home, The Upside. African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu. Getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real. with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko Mosito. Tamengubene talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Muteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Mariamo Kumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some Lucifer knowledge. Kalodiscopia, 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko Mosito. Tamengubene talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Muteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Mariamo Kumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some Lucifer knowledge. Kalodiscopia, 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that
Questa Grootman. Didn't he call this new album Grootman Questa because it was a title that he was not willing to accept? It's under the Big Bro Theory, his latest body of work. Go check it out on all streaming platforms. This is The Upside on Channel Africa, the African perspective, coming to you live from the Auckland Park Studios in Johannesburg, South Africa. Thank you so much for tuning in this afternoon. Happy Wednesday to you. It's 16 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African time, and we are about to get into conversation with the husband and wife duo who are revolutionizing skincare for babies through their organic product range. How exciting is that?
I'm very excited. And like I was saying, as quickly as we can get them on organic way of living, the better. So let's do this. Let's take a quick promo break. We return and speak all things Ego baby products when we return.
The news, music, and lifestyle of Africa on Channel Africa, the African perspective. Africa, meet Abedi.
Yeah, that's me.
Abedi is a music lover through and through.
I really love African music.
He's got a taste for all kinds of tunes and spends his days listening to Channel Africa. Guess what? He didn't know.
Okay.
Channel Africa wants to help Abedi and all music lovers everywhere to discover even more incredible music. That is why Channel Africa is calling on all African musicians to submit their music. musicians, remember to give us all your relevant information. Make your submissions at music@channelafrica.co.za. Submissions are your chance to be heard on radio. But sadly, they do not guarantee that you will be playlisted. All submissions will be carefully reviewed to see if they meet our station's requirement. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Get the news, music, and lifestyle of Africa on Channel Africa, the African perspective. The Upside with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mosito, bringing Africa's voices to the world on Channel Africa, the African perspective.